All right, today we're here with the expert in rental arbitrage. His channel is one of the highest, if not the highest, Airbnb followed channel on YouTube. It's called Airbnb Automated, and it's Mr. Sean Rakidzich.
Hi, camera. My name's Sean Rakidzich, and I do rental arbitrage. I'm a business owner who found that you could put properties on Airbnb without owning them, and I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. Our account has about $2 million in cash flow from our Airbnb properties, and we own none of them. It's been fun. In the last couple of years, we've had some just insane growth.
Like, what is it exactly that this offers for the person that's watching right now? Say, for instance, if the person just so happens to be like an 18-year-old and doesn't have a whole lot of credit, they can't get a house, they really want to do what I do, but they just can't get approved for it. They don't have enough credit history, or they can't even get approved for an apartment complex because they're on their first apartment and they might need a parent to co-sign, or maybe they need to go to a private release route. Like, how does someone get started in this from the very, very, very scratch of the beginning? Let's say, for instance, you're an 18-year-old and you're watching this.
Yeah. If I was going to give people advice, you could even start before you're 18. You can form an LLC. You can buy up an LLC before the age of 18. And LLC's age will determine its credit and stuff like that. So you can start to groom an LLC to be approved for leases before you're 18. That's something cool. Get the LLC formed, get an EIN number from the government, get a Dun & Bradstreet number from dnb.com, and start to work on trade lines, open up a business bank account, get some cash in there, and do some small things. You can Quill.com, Granger, Seaton. You can get a Chevron gas card for your business without any previous credit, and just get a bunch of little bits of credit and relationships with other businesses, so that way when you're ready to try to sign some leases, you can apply as an LLC, which bypasses subletting law, essentially. So a limited liability company costs a couple $100 to start, and you can do this on the Secretary of State website. So that's pretty simple. You can have it up in a couple of days. So when you apply as a limited liability corporation for a lease, you're not on the hook as a person financially, right? Your social security number is free from doing business, and they won't look at your credit as the person you are. So they won't look at the fact that you're 18 and the only credit you have is like a Kohl's card or a Best Buy card. They're not going to look at you like that. They'll look at your year-and-a-half-old LLC, and they'll look that you've done little bits of business through your company, and they'll approve your company for a lease. And that's the best way to get in. And by being a corporation, it's easier for you to say, hey, we're gonna have Johnny stay here, or we're gonna have Susan stay here. That's much more simple than if you're signing your lease as yourself, and then you have to justify it as subletting. And some places are super strict against subletting, but as a corporation or an LLC, a lot of property management companies work with companies like this already, and that makes sense to them, that a company is having somebody stay. So it keeps that relationship with the building clean. So to get started, form an LLC and start to try to do business through that LLC. And if you're an artist and you sell paintings, right, or you're a DJ or a wedding photographer, just do whatever business that you already do to make money on the side. Whatever your side hustle is, put it under that business and let that side hustle make that business money, because what people will care to see is that that LLC has a bank account, and that bank account has money going in and out of it, and you're actually you're doing transactions. That's what they want to see.
If you just saw this video and you want to get started tomorrow, can you get started tomorrow, or do you have to get the LLC first and get trade lines going for a couple of months or a year, and then establish yourself to be credible for these companies?
I got my first lease as a business 2 days after we filed.
Wow.
So, but when I did that, it wasn't about doing rental arbitrage. I was in California. I expanded my media company to do business in a suburb of Los Angeles, and I had gotten evicted in 2009. So I couldn't get a lease for myself. And that was the big problem, is I had my car repossessed, I got evicted, my credit score was like 525. I could not apply anywhere and live anywhere because of my eviction record. The leasing agents at this one property in Thousand Oaks, California said, hey, form a business and apply as a business. And then I had proof of cash flow, like I had enough money coming in and out of my bank account to qualify. And so the fact that I applied it as a business, they were able to bypass checking my social security number and seeing that eviction. So it can be fast. It's not guaranteed. Different businesses or different property management companies will have stricter requirements. Some will require your LLC to be 2 years old. Some will want it to have a beautiful credit score. Some not. We had this one building in Dallas where all we had to do was give references. They checked the references, and when they found out that none of our references had anything bad to say about us, they approved our lease. But that LLC, that business, never even had its own business bank account. It had no financials, but it got approved on references alone. So it's still the Wild West. Some will say yes, some will say no. And so that part's a numbers game. But if you wanted to prepare for 18, like if you're 16 right now and you formed a business, by the time you're 18, that LLC it's good. The biggest part of doing this is setting up the property. That's the most time intensive. You gotta put a couch in there, you got a TV, you gotta set it up, make it look good, take some photos. Once the property is running, you just have to clean the property when a guest checks out. And you have to communicate through your phone. But who of us are not available like at a moment's notice for our phone? Like you could be working at Target at the checkout counter, checking out stuff, and you could be like texting an Airbnb guest their instructions to check into your home. Like you can legitimately, through your phone, like side hustle 24/7. There's very little time that you need to be present at your property. And if you make enough money on your property and you don't want to have to like spend your lunchtime cleaning an apartment, you can hire a housekeeper and they'll clean your place for you. So yeah, you can totally side hustle it. And soon we'll have a good list of testimonials and case studies about the side hustle. I think that doing Airbnb as a side hustle or rental arbitrage as a side hustle can be a necessary evil sometimes if you're stuck financially, like you have a job, you need the money to pay your bills, but you build it up and then get out of your 9 to 5, right? That's the goal, is to get that autonomy and freedom, pick up some more properties and then keep going. But you can start it as a side hustle until you feel safe enough to jump.
So you mentioned that this could be done part-time or full-time.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is just an LLC and a willingness to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take a whole lot of money to get started. There is a lot of potential upside, just takes a little bit of grinding. And this seems like it could fit for most people. Like what, if you just laid out the exact way to do this, how to do it, and all the benefits, why does not everybody do it? Like what would prevent someone from taking advantage of this kind of information?
A lot of people don't do new.
They don't do new.
They don't do new. And so we're like, if you're comfortable, you're complacent, you're safe, you're gonna keep doing what's safe, because we don't want to risk and like lose it all, right? So for some people, $3,000 is all the money that they have. So we could say all day, like, yeah, this $3,000, it's safe. This is a safe bet or whatever. But people aren't gonna throw their last $3,000 at something unless they can like really have the assurances, or until they really, really need the opportunity. I didn't start my first business until like I was desperate, like homeless desperate. And that's when I started my media company. It's because I had to. But otherwise, people don't do new. Like people go back to being a server or a bartender or something like that. Service industry, like it's safe.
Safe.
People take tips over commission because tips seem safe, but commission doesn't. Mm-hmm. That's one of the mental traps. Like we get assimilated into like a work culture through the first 18 years of our life, right? And after that 18 years of your parents telling you it's a certain way, your friends telling you it's a certain way, you see your older brother or sister take a certain job, and you see that they survived and they made enough money. You see people who've done certain things and they've made it, you think that those are the best ways to do it. Where somebody else on the other end of a computer screen is saying, you can do it like this. Well, they show me, like really show me. Like walk me through the property by hand. Let me see it. Let me shadow you for 2 weeks. That's what some people need before they would feel comfortable enough to jump and spend a few $1,000s on a real estate play. And that's why people don't.
So, say for instance, they are kind of scared to act right now. Mm-hmm. This is the first time they might be hearing about this. Do you have like some kind of sources or some kind of information or potentially a playlist or videos that can get people to walk through the process with you, maybe 5, 10, 20, 100 videos, and then to where they can start to watch it and feel a little more and more comfortable about it?
Yeah, so the YouTube channel, it's kind of chronological. And so it in a way it's random, because what we talk about on the YouTube channel isn't like a flow like a course would be, but it's everything that would be in a course typically. There's a few people who sell Airbnb courses, they give no information until you buy their product, and everything that's on their product is typically in our channel. Our channel, you just have to dig through it all. So our course, our YouTube channel started like 2 years ago, where I show people like my multi-calendar. For people who are on Airbnb, they know what a multi-calendar is. A lot of people won't know what that is. So we talk about managing your calendars on Airbnb, and then we start talking about how to clean places and how to fold towels and all sorts of different stuff. And over the course of 2 years, we've talked about almost every imaginable Airbnb topic there is to talk about, even dealing with thefts, refunds, everything. Yeah, it's about 16 solid hours of video that you can watch. And yeah, by the end of it, you should know everything that you need to know to get started. You don't need to buy a course to start an Airbnb business. We could not deliver a course soon, and people would still succeed. But we're delivering a course because people are asking us to.